Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. I'm Annette Richmond, and this is Content Marketing School. And I'm so excited to have my friend Tina back here with me today. We've known each other since back in the Clubhouse days when we met, and just from people all over the world. That was like one of the few bright spots of the pandemic for me, the fact that I got to meet people like you. So, for anyone who doesn't know you, please tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I work as a headhunter in Belgium, in Europe. I look for talent for multinational companies for top level positions. And I've worked 2 decades in the executive search industry. And I also work as a career coach. And we have collaborated with you several times, and your background in recruitment and in resume writing, we really have a lot to talk about in that area.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. I did do resumes for many years, and before that, I worked as a recruiter for a couple years as well. So, you are a multi-book author. You have more than one book, and you speak several languages. I forget how many. So, I was not surprised when you decided to publish your first book also in Spanish, I think, right? You published it in Spanish. And so I'm curious if you can just share, because I'm sure a lot of people are curious about this, the idea of expanding our reach. We're always trying to expand our reach with everything that we do. So what kind of made you do that, to publish in a second language, and why did you choose Spanish?
Uh, those are great questions. Like you said, I speak several languages. I speak 9 languages, and that's because I come from a really small country, Estonia, and I had to learn all the other languages. And to me, it just feels so natural that the book would be translated into another language, because we think everyone speaks English. That's not the case. I know so many people who don't speak English and who want to have access to this knowledge. So that's why I wanted to make a translation or several, but so far I only have done one translation. And you ask why Spanish? It's not one of the languages I speak. I speak Brazilian Portuguese, which is quite similar to Spanish, but still
Okay.
a totally different language. But it's really one of the largest language groups and the population. So I thought I go with the biggest one. So that's why I chose Spanish.
Yeah, no, I understand, the idea of people thinking that everyone speaks English, but I've traveled outside the country, not a lot, but enough to know that everybody does not speak English. Even everybody in the US does not speak English. I am a, 2nd generation on my dad's side. My grandfather was from Romania, the old country, as he used to say, and he spoke English only to us grandkids. That
Hmm.
was it. He had his friends from the local church, and they would come over, and even, of course, to his children, they grew up speaking it, so it was only to us grandchildren. And I wish that I had learned or been taught, because my understanding is it's easier to learn to speak a second language when you're younger. I have
True.
a tin ear. I took French in high school, Spanish in college, and I speak nothing but, merci. I mean, that's about it for me. So, I do wanna mention, if anyone is looking, they're listening to this podcast, and, or watching this live, that, your book is for job seekers. So can you just tell us, like, the name of the book in case people want to grab it? 'Cause it is for sale on Amazon in English and Spanish.
Yes. So the original one is called How to Be Found by Recruiters on LinkedIn. And it explains how to make yourself visible on LinkedIn so that recruiters come to you instead of you having to look for new jobs. So there are so many myths that people who don't use LinkedIn Recruiter, which is a different version of LinkedIn is a paid version that only recruiters and headhunters have access to. It costs like a 10,000 euro per year to have access. So those are really, I tell you what to focus on, what to do so that you are found instead of um, the stories that other people who don't know how it works are spreading on LinkedIn. And I was always talking about the same and repeating myself all the time. So I thought it's good to have everything in one place in a book format. And also, I made sketch notes. So for people who are visual learners, they will get a very good overview about what's in every chapter, so they can quickly have a look and take action.
I will say I have a copy of your book, so it's a very very valuable. Lots of great information there. So, can you talk a little bit about the process? Since it's not a language that you speak, it must have been. I guess it would be similar than for someone like me if I decide to publish my book in Spanish, and because I don't speak Spanish.
Well, I think there is a little difference. I was also approached by a translator who said, "Do you want to translate it into Korean?" I was
Okay.
like I can read Spanish, and if I pronounce it, I like it's very very similar to Portuguese. So I can understand what's written, but I can't do the proofreading. So there is a big difference between Japanese and Spanish. So like I could understand a little bit, but I had to use other people for proofreading and for translation. Yeah, that's true.
So so if someone like me, for example, and I know a lot of our friends and colleagues are also authors. People listening to this podcast, one of the topics that we cover a lot here is book publishing, book writing, and so what should someone like me, if or someone who just speaks English, or maybe they, just speak any language and they decide to publish it, they want to publish it in a language that is not their own, that they're not like you, they can't read it or write it or anything. Do you have any suggestions for someone like that?
Yeah, you collaborate with a company where they do translations, where they do proofreading, and it's in their best interest that it's well done. So you would be sharing. My translator translation is done by Javier Prieto. So I'm always talking about him, how happy I was with the process, how he kept the deadlines, how he kept me informed, and I think you really have to find a person whom you trust, and the easiest way is probably going by recommendations by the previous clients. That's what I would do. Like when you look for a restaurant.
Yep, yep. And that brings us back to sort of a on the edge of another one of my favorite topics is networking and the idea that people think, oh, it's so transactional. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. But the truth is, we do it all the time, as you just said. Now, if I decided that I wanted to write a book, have my book translated to Spanish, I would go to you and say, who do you recommend? And so that is all the whole idea of networking. So, what did you have expectations of what it was what the process was going to be like and what the, sort of sales, were going to be like, and did your expectations get met?
Well, first there was a little bit. So it's not only a book that's translated. So it's not only text. All the chapters have sketch notes. So all the sketch notes are also translated into Spanish, and that took uh, much more work than I had ever expected because I wanted it to be also translated, and since it's all hand drawn, I had to redo the sketches. So
Okay.
and Spanish words are longer than the English words. So getting everything that part done, it took longer time than I had expected. But I felt it wouldn't be authentic if the rest of the book was in Spanish and the pictures in English.
Right. So what was it, and I of course, it's always when you add another visual element, another element to a book, it always makes a difference, even if you have, graphs or any kind of images. I have none in any in well, in my most recent book. I have some in other books. Um, what about the reception? Was it, you know are you glad you did it, I guess is kind of what I wanna say. I know that your main purpose, because 'cause you're such a warm, generous person, you share your knowledge, you help so many people, and I'm not surprised that your reason for doing it in the first place would be because you wanna help more people, because that's who you are, and I know that. But was it received? I mean, did have a lot of people really grabbing for it or buying it online?
Yes, I can see it from Amazon statistics because it's on sale on Amazon. So I can see when it specifies all the different countries when somebody
Right.
from Mexico has bought the book, and I'm like, wow, uh, it's such a great feeling that somebody is, yeah, getting the information from this book. If I wouldn't have done the process, they wouldn't have had the book. So I'm very glad I did it.
Yeah, no, I think that Amazon too, they all my books are on Amazon, and I think that the statistics that they give all of the authors are fabulous. You can see, and I see that too. Oh, somebody in Europe bought my book, and it's very exciting to be in all the different marketplaces. So, what would you say were sort of the biggest challenges that people should think about? Or is say if they don't particularly have the hand-drawn images or something in their book, what are things that people should expect? Because even writing a book is something you can do in chunks, as long as you think about it, doing a little bit of it at a time, maybe writing a chapter a month or some 10 pages a day or even 1 page a day, little by little by little. But it sounds like translating a book into a different language is more of a kind of not something you're chipping away at, but it's a big undertaking that you're doing kind of in a shorter period of time.
Yes, I didn't realize it was like launching a new book because it is launching a new book. I just thought it was a translation, but still, if all the process on Amazon, it's the same as launching a new book, a Kindle version, the paperback, you have to prove it. So yeah, so that you really have to know it takes more time than you expect.
And you also I'll just pop this in there, you also did a collaboration. So, are you, but that's in English only,
Yes,
okay, right now.
yes. There is another book that I wrote together with Gillian Whitney. Your Voice Matters, present from the heart, and it's the same. It's with the sketch notes in front of every chapter. So it was really great thing to do when you want to share, like launching a book for me feels like having another baby. So when you launch a book together with your bestie, then it feels like you're co-parenting. You're doing the marketing together. You think about the, yeah, how the book will come in front of other people's, yeah, eyeballs. So that's something great, especially when you work as an entrepreneur, when you work alone. Then it's good to do collaborations. I think it gives you energy and you both benefit from it.
Yeah, you know what, I like that idea. I had, Michelle, Griffin on my
Yeah.
show, a few months ago, and she was just launching, a solo book, but she had collaborated with Michelle Raymond,
Yes.
on the previous book, And one of the things that she shared with me is the idea that when you are working with another person, collaborating on a book, I know you and Jillian are very close friends, and Michelle are very good friends as well. But there there are different styles of work. People do tend to work differently. She shared a few things about one person liked to do one way, the other person, one I think worked in Docs and the other worked in Word or something like that. So can you talk a little bit about, the challenges? And I know I'm sure it was great because, hey, we both love Jillian, but what are the challenges of working, collaborating on a book, working on it together?
I think the way we collaborated, I love how Oprah Winfrey writes books. So it's a conversational style, like you and me are talking. So our book is the same. It's Tina says, Jillian says, so you can see clearly who is speaking. And
Mhm.
we recorded our book in Zoom calls.
Oh, okay.
So it's really and then the writing style, I focused more on the images, on the pictures, and I had like full freedom there. And Gillian focused more on the writing part. So of course we had to go in and change a little bit because you can't really just transcribe and say this is a ready book. But I think
Absolutely. Yeah.
we had different responsibility areas, so it worked out really well.
Well, see, that sounds perfect because, um, they were totally different areas,
Yeah.
and I think that that makes it easier to sort of, I divide and conquer, divide the duties, and then, it's an easier way because then you can also be working on different areas at the same time, and I'm sure in that sense, it went faster than working on your own.
Yeah, and it's always good to have an accountability partner.
Yes.
I love uh, to have deadlines, and that's how you get shit done, in my
No,
opinion.
it absolutely, absolutely. It definitely. I belong to a couple of accountability groups. Some of us it really helps for someone like me who can always find something else to do. If I'm on a deadline, well, you know what? It's time for me to vacuum my house because, it's gotta be done right now because, oh no, I don't wanna be sitting here writing. But having an accountability partner does make all the difference. So
And
what
it can be a virtual accountability partner as well. Like I'm in a WhatsApp group, and it's all about steps. So it's about walking, and every week we count the data, how many steps everyone gathered. We don't go together to the forest
Mhm,
and walk,
mhm.
but we do it virtually, and it motivates us. So it really works. Even if Michelle is like in Australia, another Michelle is in the US, and me in Europe, Gillian in the US. It really works. Just to know that somebody is expecting something from you, it works magic.
Oh, absolutely. I'm in an accountability group for speakers, and we talk about, okay, this is our goal. How many
Hmm.
places are we going to apply every week? And there is something about knowing, okay, tomorrow I have to tell whether I did what I said I was going to do or not. So if I haven't done anything, I need to at least do something. And so it certainly does make all the difference. You know, it's one of the things that I've never heard of before. Now, I have done recordings. I do a lot of, blogs and such, or even a podcast where I record on the notes on my phone. So I was in my car the other day, and I was driving the car, I was recording, a podcast on podcasts, and so then I came back and I transcribed it, and that became the basis. But the idea of the 2 of you meeting on Zoom, how did you decide to do that? To get together on Zoom and then just use that as the, transcript? I mean, I love it.
Yeah, because we both were presenting at the Uplift Live,
Mhm.
the UK's LinkedIn focused conference together.
Right.
So we were preparing 6 months in advance our speeches. So
Mhm.
it felt natural to meet on Zoom. And a week after the conference, we said, let's sit down now. Then we remember everything fresh. What happened, how we prepared, what did we learn, what did we learn during the day of the presentation. Because if we write it 6 months later, we won't remember the details.
So was the book the result of you had been meeting on Zoom, planning together, and then you said, "Oh, let's turn it into a book," or was it the other way around?
It was the other way around. So we
Okay.
didn't plan to write the book because I had just launched a book a week before. So
Mhm.
I never thought I would write another book. But then a week later we said, oh yeah, let's record this, let's see what comes out of it. And and that's how we did.
I love it. Yet another way to multitask. No, it's true. So many of us, we're all so many of the people that you and I know, we are consultants or we are entrepreneurs of some sort, and it's so difficult to find the time. Like, how do you do everything? And the idea that you would meet like that and record is just absolutely brilliant. So we are time goes by so fast. We're getting close to the end of our time. And I always like to invite my guests to share something that we didn't talk about that they feel would be, important, beneficial for people to know.
I think when you decide to translate a book, um, it's think about the different aspects, not only the financial value. So it's um, a book, like there are it's really, I think, like Gillian says, it's like a business card on steroids. It's really to open a door to new markets, to new people. So see it as an investment. And yes, it takes quite a lot of work to do it, but maybe there is someone out there who needs to hear it from you, from your perspective. And like you said, you work as a speaker as well. It can lead to speaking engagement. It can lead to other things. So why not have your business card translated into different languages? If you like to travel and see the world, this is maybe the opportunity. And just take a chance and just do it.
Well, I love that because you have touched on something that is such a challenge for so many people that they're afraid of doing something. "Oh, I'm gonna do it. People won't like it. People are gonna judge it." And the little voice in our head is never like, "Oh, you got this, girlfriend." It's always right? I mean, it's always, "Well, who are you to be writing the book or writing the article or doing the video or whatever?" So do you have a couple of tips? We have a couple of minutes to share with people who are like that. They think, "You know what? Nobody cares what I have to say."
I think listen to your audience. Like I didn't start writing a book. It was really posting the sketch notes on LinkedIn every week, and people were encouraging me, like, "Oh, we like them. There is so much value. You should write a book." And I was like, "Are they kidding? What do they mean write a book? Like me?" And just listen to your fans when they say you should do something. Maybe there is something, like, believe the others who believe in you, like your cheerleaders. um Always listen to the people who believe in you and surround yourself with those people who believe in you, because alone it's very, very difficult.
Yes, yes. I love that, and I think that's a, perfect way to kind of end our conversation. I thank you so much. I've learned a lot from you, and I know people listening to this will as well, because the idea of writing a book in the first place, people are nervous, and then the idea of translating into another language is like a whole other thing. So, I
But
appreciate.
it's possible. Yeah, if I have done it, anyone can do it. And I'm now looking for a translator to translate it into Brazilian Portuguese. And I have plans to translate it into Swedish, which is my second mother tongue, and Estonian as well, because yeah, that's what I want to. But I don't want to do everything in one go because I also have my headhunting business to do. But this is really, it just feels right. And also when I said listen to your people who believe in you, be the same for other people. Like I do it all the time with the people closest to me. I tell them what I see in them. I see the potential that they can't even imagine, and then magic starts happening. So in order to have people who believe in you, start um, you give to get. That's where to start, I think.
Well, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. Thanks for to everyone who's listening, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having me.